Hello, I'm at Biddenden Tractor Festival, and the first thing I'm seeing is a Ferguson, looks like a TE series I think, looks to have been supplied locally. Next to that's a Fordson Power Major. There's an Alice Chalmers in wartime green. There's a John Deere over there. Another Ferguson there. What the heck is this? Looks like a GMC, I think. It's a Massey Ferguson 35 and a Ford 4000. There's a Fordson Major just there. Right, this won't be steaming up today because of the risk of wildfires, but it's a Evelyn and Porter Invicta steamroller, Type AE. Massey Ferguson 135 down there, and next to it a Morris Minor van. Some sort of stationary engine which would have run a saw. There's a field marshal there. We'll just go around. There's a couple of miniature steam engines over there. Don't think there's much going to be steam running today. There's a field marshal. I'm going to start essentially with the working area and the tractors because that's what the festival's about. There's a saw bench there. And there's a Ruston Hornsby, rather large stationary engine, 6X HR diesel. Not running at the moment. There's a BSA next to a Fordson Model N. I'm just going to have a look at these tractors quick. There's a Ford over there next to that Ford 4000 there. Fordson Major, a Fergie. That's a Super Dexter just there, and there's a Fordson Standard N. Well, I'll keep calling it the Model N. We're going to go over now to the going to go over here to the looks to be some stationary engines. I think first we're going to go visit the Fordson area. This is the four-man sheep shearer, sheep shears. It's mostly sheep shearing equipment. Behind that looks like a Fordson Major. Right, we're in the Fordson area now. So if we go up here a little, some model ends, yeah, standard ends.
I'm like, nah. I can't. When I see you lot starting them, I'm like, yeah, hang on that. That 27.
Yeah, mine's really different.
Says that's a water washer. Okay. Standard. We go around here. See some more.
And I don't you got the aircon in yours, like, yeah, sitting there like you lot.
And the fridge going.
More standard ends there. Various states of. There's a Ford 9 here. Okay. Didn't know that was as early as that. There's a Fordson Dexter just there. Here's a couple of Fordson Dexters. One on the left is 1962, the one on the right is from 1958. Another Fordson Dexter from 1958 just here. A couple of Ford 3000s. Here's a Fordson Super Dexter.
Yeah, they're pretty crap music. It was good. I could hear it in the distance, and then when we went over it.
There's some New Hollands there.
I drove this Polo over to Elliot this morning.
There's a Ford, a couple of Ford tractors, Ford 4000, 8630 power shift just here. And we come across some super majors, a couple of super majors. Yeah, there's a couple of Fordson major diesels there. I'm sort of quickly, I wouldn't say really whizzing around, but most of these sort of tractors I see at other shows. This is the biggest gathering of tractors. There's a 4000 Fordson Major just here, and there's a Power Major coming up now. Here's a New Holland. Couple of 8340s, Fords. Well, one's a Ford, one's New Holland. That's essentially what Ford tractors and the old Fordson became. So I think they sold off their tractor making. Yeah, but a shout out to the Ford and Fordson Owners Club here. The Ford and Fordson Association, sorry, I misspoke. Right, what are we coming across here now?
Good morning everyone and welcome to Track Fest 2026.
Triple D dual drive.
There is a heightened risk of wildfire. As such, here at Biddenden Track Fest, we have put extra measures in place to ensure the safety of all of our guests. To ensure our safety, we have had to adjust some of the arena displays.
Here's a Fordson Major. It looks like it's been slightly uprated.
Anything out of the ordinary to a member of the team. In the event of an emergency situation, please follow the instructions of staff. See it, smell it, report it. Thank you everyone for your cooperation and we hope you have a lovely Sunday here at Track Fest.
Ford 3000 there. Fordson Super Major. Ford 5000. A couple of 4000s here. One's a 4004. Okay. Here's a Ford 5610. Weird looking Fordson Major there with a generator set on the front. Another Power Major. Fordson Dexter. Fordson Major E27N, that one.
I won't let you ride it. No. Trouble is, I gave up riding when my knees played around, so I was trying to stop.
Fordson Major diesel here, next to a Dexter. Yeah. 4610, 44, 4110, 3000. And someone's, what the? Looks like someone's parked a Ferguson there. Could be one of the ones that. Fordson Major. A couple of those. Look what this is. Behind that's a Ford 7810 New Holland TS 135A, and a. We'll look at that in a minute. There's a Fordson Super Major just here. Next to what looks like a Dexter. Ford 4000 over there. Another Ford turning up. Looks to be a 3000. No, it's a 4000. That's a New Holland TN85 FA. Right, I'm going to go over to. There's a Fordson Major up there pulling a cart. Looks to be a Massey Ferguson 35X there, and an MGB. Massey Ferguson 99.425. Look what this is.
Quite a good idea to do that, to go on the tractor ride and then you can see what, if there's anything in particular you want to go and see.
Right, if we go around here now. We then get to a Nuffield 1060 next to a Massey Ferguson 135. Nuffield Universal. There's a Ferguson TE20 diesel. Massey Ferguson 35X, Swanley Parish Council, done in highway colours. Ooh, Lamborghini Tractor 1R. Here's a Cropmaster by David Brown. A couple of David Browns here. The red one is a 990, so is the white one, but this one, red one's an Implomatic. The one here is a Selectomatic. Don't know what the difference is. No worries, I'll just try to work out the difference between a Selectomatic and an Implomatic. I've got no idea. Lord, I'll have to ask. I'll have to find out. Nuffield 460 and the Fordson Major. That's a E1A. Fordson N 1942. It's a wartime model. Massey Ferguson 35. Next to another 35 in a lot more mint condition. Oh, another 35 that's done in battleship grey with gold, well, silver, well,
Right now they're not.
bronzy, goldy. Here's a Fordson Major from 1958. Massey Ferguson 135. Driven one of those, but without the roll hoops. Ah, this is more that sort of one I've driven. No roll hoops or nothing. There's a International 585. Oh, there's that Leyland Model 154. I think I've seen that one before. David Brown 885 Narrow. Notice it's got case written on it as well. Here's a 135 Massey Ferguson next to a Massey Ferguson 35 and another 135 Massey Ferguson. Massey Fergusons and Fordsons are two of the ones that people most use around my way. Massey Ferguson 35X. It seems they got that. Okay. Driver seems to be asleep. Here's a Field Marshal. I think the most amount of Marshall tractors I've ever seen in one place was 200 at Welland.
Good morning everyone, I hope you can hear me. Welcome to our second day of tractor test.
Here's a Ferguson TE20 next to a Renault N71.
We're starting with some Ford and Fordsons and a bit of a swap around rather than yesterday when we started with our Masses. So yes, what we'll do is we'll start talking about some of these as they go around the perimeter and then we'll get them lined up in within the centre.
And people are just walking past me.
Some of the individual drivers and they can tell us a little bit more about it.
Let's have a look at this one, BMB President.
What they've been
I've never really heard of this one.
There's always a bit of a story behind some of these tractors, so that's normally quite entertaining. So, but yeah, what we do is we get them in the ring and I'll make a start, going around some of them explaining
here's a Massey Ferguson 135.
and then we go from there. Right, so we might as well start this lovely little blue Fordson standard here, stand there.
135. Here's a Ferguson TD20. Here's a Nuffield Universal. Massey Ferguson 6610 Ford, Massey Ferguson 6160. Next to a John Deere 6110 as well. Okay. This is a Z-Tour. Never seen one of these before. 3011. Massey Ferguson 8130 Dyna Shift.
Here we've got another Fordson. We then go from our standard to our Fordson Major. This one here is actually
Massey Ferguson 1150 with the diesel V8 in. Next to a 165. Slightly bigger than the 135 by looks of things.
The Fordson Majors are very common in the 50s, mid-50s.
It's a Fendt Turbomatic Favorite 612 LSA. I'm going to read the size of things because sometimes I don't put things up telling you what it is. This is an Ica Puma 201. Okay, seen one of these before. It's a two-cylinder. One I saw was free.
Then go to us when the Ford, we lost the name Fordson, and then Ford took over. So then
here's a John Deere 6330.
You have many ranges of the 1000 series, sort of 2000, 3000, 4000. Right up to the sort of 7,000, 8,000 as well. So again, a range of Fords. This 4,000 here is a typical farm example.
6620 John Deere. Another couple of fence down here. It's a Favorite LS611 and this weird looking one that I saw at a previous show. Xylon 524. Okay. That's nice.
Done these conversions, as you can pretty much see, it's two Fordson Majors joined together with a pivot steer in the middle, which enables it to then
here's a Unimog.
Headroom. We've also got the hydraulic setup on the rear, which enables you to obviously carry your flour.
This is a Claas Axos 340.
You've got double the power, double the horsepower, double the
John Deere
double the weight, obviously, which means you can tow a much bigger input
205, I think that one.
Hydraulically.
6930 Premium John Deere. Here's a Case 165.
So we about 4,000s earlier. We've got a nice restored 4,000 now, and then we're 4,000.
Couple more John Deeres. 3350 and a 7810 to the left of it.
and the spin
I'm just going to cross over here now.
the range and the natural number on the bonnet
Head to the
describes roughly that size and the horsepower.
Massey Ferguson, Ferguson
4000s were very popular
Ferguson,
tractors
really.
at the time.
Massey Ferguson 148 in red there, with a Ferguson
Right, so it's going to
T20.
move a little more to the top of the ring here so everyone can see me.
This is a TEA 20
And I think we'll
Ferguson.
also talk about this lovely little yellow Fordson Major
TEF20,
here.
similar.
Now this is an industrial model, as you can see it pretty much stands out. You've got a generator on the
Ferguson,
front
and
there,
there's this
which
really
is
old
the,
Ferguson, which I don't know what it is. I've got no idea what this is.
It's also got the compressor on the
Another
back there, which is doing off the rear PTO. So this would have been used by a lot of sort of councils and
FE35.
sort of businesses really. So like
Next
a
to a TE,
on the back there,
another
being
TE
road
series.
Maintenance, breaking up the roads and the tarmac thing there. So that's what that would be
TE20.
built for.
Sort of similar front.
The air tanks on the back there.
TEF20 here.
Today that would have been quite an expensive
Another Massey Ferguson, looks like a
so yeah, it's nice to have that here today. Another green Fordson standard, again Fordson,
doesn't say.
petrol TVO. I've just been pointed out there, it's got a nice winch. I don't know if that's a Headsford winch, is it? I think it is a Headsford winch.
Like the fact there's concrete weighing it down. TEA 20 Ferguson and a Ferguson 1035 here.
Integrated into the actual back there.
Right, back over
so
now.
your tractors are put their winches on, it's you know, on applications.
Never heard of this one. This is a Shibura SD2243. And there's an Allison Chalmers there.
It's been quite well into the winch, so I'm glad we pointed that out.
What's this one? That's a Steyr
So looking at the top of the entrance to the area,
8078.
we've got a T650,
Massey Ferguson 40.
610, Jubilee model. That's nice.
Another 135 here. Next to a 35X.
45610. You can see how tractors are moved on.
Another 135. 135. Another 35 here, and what's this? Another TE series. TED20. There's another Fendt here. Really big one this time. That's how big tractors have actually got. The 1052 Vario, that one. I'll head back down here.
So as I think we're starting to park a few up now, facing the crowd at the top there, we're going to, I'm going to make myself move to the front of the ring there. We can speak to some
TEF20,
owners individually.
35.
They can tell us a little bit about their tractors.
Another TE20.
And see if we can find out a bit about them, see how long
here.
we've owned them over the years, and we'll see if we can
TED20.
I think. Alright, Fordson Major, Fordson Power Manager. Go on, kind of high. I didn't, you got away with it yesterday. How long have you had this one?
This is a Pioneer Coventry Simplex engine type, OE 11 horsepower. Carford and Perkins. This is a weird looking thing. It looks like a road roller.
Thank you for doing it. Have we got an industrial
What's this? What's it? It's a cute Fordson Mini Major. That's must have been used in horticulture, I suppose. And there's that Pioneer again. Right, if we skip round, we see a Ferguson. Another TE low. Here's a 35. Just says V8. Probably not as standard, but it does.
I'm just going to move out way up here. So I think it's the engine behind motors, I think, seems to interfere with the speaker. But yeah, no, so we've got next to as well. So they were talking about a little
next to a 135 and a 6180
linkage to the rear, freezing the engine.
Ferguson
does he want to tell us how much? Go on, how long have you had this, Dexter?
Another 35 and a 135 here.
You done, Mum?
Oops. uneven ground.
Hang on, I'm going to try and sort the mic again. I promised this would be
35X.
working a bit better this morning, but...
Right, if we go past here, we see Friends of Ferguson Heritage. I'd like to give a shout out to, while I see a 178 for Massey Ferguson, as well as another 1150. Oh, it mentions Amberley Arundel. Alice Chalmers here.
Right, we'll try this one. Hopefully we get on a bit better with this one.
Right. Going past CVAC.
Right, we're trying to keep to this end a little
Fordson
bit.
Major Diesel here. Another 107 Vario by Fence.
So we'll try this 3,000 here then. Hay sticker on it, still going today.
Farmer 203 by Fence.
Excuse me, sir, can you tell us a little bit about your tractor?
Here's a Farmer 35. Next door 1Z.
What can I tell you? It's a 432. 90